I feel like the franchise has been reinvigorated, like this is a renaissance. If you look at why the films became classics, they had characters that you liked. The new film, which in my mind I think of as the third film, we see Arnold take the character even farther.
So you're Carl?
That's what everyone calls me.
Everybody responds to Sarah Connor.
But I changed the future. Saved 3 billion lives.
For women, I think she represents a kind of empowerment. And yet there's a vulnerability there, because that strength comes at a price.
Be here.
We went from, in the first film, the Terminator being the worst badass in history, to in the second film, him being almost a father figure.
When this is all over, I am going to kill you.
I understand.
If you like the Terminator films,
Run! I'll be back.
you're gonna love this movie.
Get your stars uncrossed, back at square one. Just
Close your eyes. Now remember back between 1984 and 2002. Think about the Terminator movies. That was a golden time where there were no bad Terminator movies. There weren't even good Terminator movies. Just great to epic movies. It's such a dumb premise. A robot from the future goes back in time to kill a person. So silly. Yet under James Cameron's confident and capable direction, we got a great sci-fi action horror piece with the original, and arguably the greatest action movie ever with the second. But also, money talks, and James Cameron moved on to sinking boats and giant blue aliens, leaving the Terminator franchise to various directors who mostly try to recreate the same story and fail. Usually solid directors, just nowhere near Cameron's level. Dark Fate might as well have been titled Last Hope. This entry brings Cameron back, if only to produce and work on the story. It also sees the return of Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor. Deadpool's Tim Miller is enlisted to direct.
What the shit?
And this movie tries for the third time in movie form to make a Terminator 3. To everyone's credit, this is the movie that gets closest to pulling it off. The story follows 3 characters with Connor, Danny, Natalia, Reyes, and Grace, Mackenzie Davis. Danny is a young woman with a very important future. Grace is an augmented human sent back in time to protect Danny from Rev 9, Gabriel Luna. Rev 9 resembles what you get if you mix the T-1000 and the TX. Danny is found by Grace, and we very quickly get to Terminator action. Eventually, Sarah shows up to help Danny, and soon enough she gets another protector in Carl, Arnold Schwarzenegger. The movie has 2 divergent parts that never feel fully fused. Grace and Danny have their battle with Rev 9, while Sarah and Carl feel like tag-along characters who are there simply because they are actors from the previous Terminator movies. Both Sarah and Carl have their own interconnected story that almost fused with Danny and Grace's at the end, but never quite makes it. I will dive into this in more detail when I get into spoilers. While getting both Hamilton and Schwarzenegger seems like a logical step in the franchise, they actually hold the story back. The action here is very well handled. Miller knows how to handle action very well, yet he doesn't let anything build. Something Cameron does remarkably well with his entries is let tension build. We know there is a coming conflict, and we spend time with the characters knowing that every second that ticks by brings the story closer to hitting the fan. Here, Grace and Rev 9 are slugging it out in about 15 minutes, and that's with more characters in the first 2 movies, all with far less screen time getting to know them before the assassins are trying to kill each other. It'd be interesting to know what people think of this movie that haven't seen the other Terminator movies. It seems like this could be a fun outing if you don't know what to expect from these movies. Yet, if you know the first 2 entries, then you'll recognize this is simply a Tim Miller rendition of a Cameron film. And while Miller is a solid filmmaker, he is no Cameron. If you don't know this franchise, you might have fun here. If you do know it, you'll recognize this is nothing more than a poor man's version. So let's dive into spoilers. Let's cut right to the chase. They made a big deal about Edward Furlong returning for this movie, and I would actually be shocked if the actor did any filming. What we see is a likeness of John Connor back in 1998 when he is killed by a 3rd Terminator sent by Skynet. However, we do learn that they were successful in Terminator 2 Judgment Day in defeating Skynet. So what we end up with is a weird scenario where Skynet sent a T-800 to kill Sarah, a T-1000 to kill John, and a second T-800 to kill John a couple years later. Apparently, the Resistance couldn't be bothered to send a 3rd protector for John. It also begs the question, why have the T-800 kill itself at the end of the second movie if more Terminators could be out there? That 3rd Terminator is Carl. Once he kills John, he no longer has a purpose and just learns to live a life and eventually develops a relationship with a woman and becomes becomes a father figure to her son. This gives him purpose and reveals what he took from Sarah. Since apparently Terminators can detect time travel events before they happen, he decides to anonymously text Sarah locations of incoming Terminators in an effort to give her purpose. If you're saying to yourself, wow, that seems like a convoluted way to keep Sarah and the T-800 relevant in this story,
don't be alarmed. That indicates only that you are still sane.
they had an opportunity at the end to connect this story, but they dropped the ball. It is revealed that Grace has a power core that can kill Rev 9 if it is close enough. If this thing is powerful enough to kill a powerful Terminator, then why doesn't Grace bring 2? Or even better, have Carl use his power core to kill Rev 9. Find out that Grace's power core isn't nearly strong enough, but Carl's is. Then John's death becomes more than just an excuse to bring Sarah into the fold. John's death becomes necessary for Carl to learn the value of human life so that he can sacrifice himself for Danny. John's life saved the world from Skynet, and his death can save the world from Legion. And yes, technically Carl does die to save Danny, but it's weird. Sarah sees Danny is struggling with Rev 9, and rather than go help her, she decides to kick Carl until he wakes up and saves Danny himself. She actually has no reason to believe that Carl isn't dead. He is seen as completely inactive, and she has to kick him a couple times to get him up. Even if he isn't dead, how does she know kicking him will do the trick? We also know that Sarah could go over and save Danny herself. After all, Danny actually gets close to defeating Rev 9 without any help. And even if the ending were fixed, we'd still be plagued with the rest of the movie, which is just another knockoff of the first 2. Grace is a solid, interesting character, and Danny has potential, but we spend so much time setting up Sarah and Carl just to have them there for fan service. The film would likely have been better with just a cameo from Sarah revealing that Skynet was defeated and John is growing up and the world is safe, only to next show Terminators time traveling after a new target and allow this movie to exist in the same universe but with largely different characters. Instead, we get a franchise that seems to want to do nothing more than run itself into the ground. The movie makes a good case that this franchise should just be terminated.
Hi, this is Carl's Draperies. We have the best drapes and curtains anywhere in Texas. I can guarantee you that. Sorry we are not here right now to answer your call, but we will call you back. Until then, hasta la vista.
Few people know this, but Carl wasn't the first name he experimented with, and Draperies was not the first small business he tried.
Hello, you've reached Arnold's Pizza Shop. I'm not here now, I'm out killing pepperoni. If you want to reach me, if you want a pizza, I don't care, cause I'm not here. Can't you realize that, idiot? But if you need a pizza sometime during the next few days, I can have it delivered to you, or maybe I will staple it to you. I don't care what you want on it, every pizza comes with pepperoni and with 9mm bullets on it. If you don't like it, I don't care, cause you'll receive one anyhow. The only difference is, maybe the 9mm bullets will be in a gun, or maybe they'll be on your pizza. If you don't fuck around, I'll give you good pizza. If you do fuck around, I'll take a pepperoni and punch it through your head. So, if you want mushroom, shut up. If you want broccoli, what the hell is broccoli anyway? Shut up with the broccoli. If you want something crazy like a pineapple, I'll kill you. If you like pepperoni and bullets, you've come to the right place. If not, you're an idiot, you deserve to die. So, leave a name, leave a number, serial number, how tall you are, whether you're susceptible to any diseases, and if you are, I'll come over, maybe I'll give you a pizza, maybe I'll break off your arm. So, get back to me, or I'll get back to you, or I'll crush you like the wimpy piece of shit you are. So, leave it now.
They think order and chaos are somehow opposites and try to control what won't be.